Vi likes two things a lot: when people stand up to her and when she gets beat up. Saying that out loud, I now understand how that sounds, but I promise you it's not what you're thinking. It's actually much more heartbreaking. Of course it's heartbreaking. You're here with me. Why would it be anything else? See, Vi's been a natural leader from a very early age. She has the kind of gravity of personality that pulls people in, and not just from her own immediate circles, but from outside too, right? Like, think about Echo and Jace, the junior officers. They're all pulled in by her charisma. And while she gets this, she doesn't really understand it until Vander's last lecture to her. What he says is, when people look up to you, you don't get to be selfish. Whatever happens to them, that's on you. Now, in some ways, that's definitely part of the guilt that he bears for the attack on Piltover and what happened to Vi's parents, but it's also a very good point about leaders. You're not just an ordering person, right? You're not just giving out orders and commands. You are also responsible for the lives of people who follow you. And being Vander's daughter through and through, of course, Vi takes that to heart. As soon as she sees Vander doesn't have a solution and their family is still in danger, she immediately makes the move to try and sacrifice herself to defend them. But what I want to draw your attention to next is the incident at the cannery with the monkey bomb. Because most people will probably tell you that in the aftermath of that, Vi blames Powder for what happens to Milo, Clagger, and Vander. But that's not exactly correct, is it? What she says first is, why would you do this? Never once does she utter the words, it's your fault. She cannot blame Powder because Vi blames herself. Milo, Clagger, and Powder all looked up to her. What happens to them is on you. Her choices, both the sacrifice play and the rescue op, took them all there to that moment. It's on her in her eyes. The next person we see her have any significant time with is Kate, who she's really, pretty rude to for a while. And if you remember, her attitude towards Kate starts to change after Kate saves her from Savika. But when specifically? Because even after she chases Savika away, the first thing Vi says is, you let her get away. To which Kate, who's understandably had enough of Vi's bullshit by now, is just like, okay, do you want to say thank you? Vi responds, and now Silco will know we're here. Kate does not back down. Kate goes, and whose fault is that? That demonstration that she is not someone that Vi just pushes around or someone who just follows Vi because of her leadership and charisma, instantly afterwards, as soon as she demonstrates that, Vi gets a lot softer. Same thing happens when she's reunited with Echo, right? She remembers Echo as this kid who followed her around and wanted to be just like her growing up. But the second Echo is like, you block with your face, you dumb motherfucker. She's just like, oh my god, I can't even remember when you'd stand up to me, and softens towards him as well. Vi respects people who stand up to her, because as soon as she knows that they're not just blindly following her, suddenly the chances of them going to their death drop dramatically. Now, if you're thinking this is starting to sound a little familiar to you, yes, it probably does if you watch my last video. Jinx doesn't want people to care for her because it will get them killed. Vi doesn't want people to admire her because it will get them killed. They also have different rhyming mechanisms of dealing with their guilt from the incident. Whereas Jinx likes to blow things up, Vi likes to take damage herself. Whenever something goes wrong in Vi's life, she immediately looks for the nearest, easiest way to take punishment for it. People change because of her in negative ways. People die because of her. The first thing she does is look for the nearest punching bag who punches back. It's why she goes to fight Savika in the barroom blitz. There was no tactical purpose to going to the last drop there. Silco wasn't there. She had to know that because she never asked a single person, where's Silco? Savika wasn't guarding any shimmer factories. No, she's just the nearest punching bag that can punch back, punch well, and it just so happens that Vi also hates her. It was something she did on a personal whim rather than something tactical. That got so much more complicated when Kate started looking at her as though she was the most important thing in the world. Nobody looked at her like Kate looked at her. So when Jinx bombs the council and Kate loses her mother, whose fault is that? Who created the monster that did it? Vi. So then, in Vi's world, whose fault is it when Kate changes because of it? In perhaps what can only be described as the greatest recursive loop of self-loathing that Vi has ever experienced, where does she go next? To the fighting pit where she gets punched in the face every single day. Because it's her fault. And she deserves it. Now, if you've made it through that gut-wrenching bit so far, I've decided to give you a little bit of a treat here at the end. Because, see, there's one more instance of Vi treating someone better as soon as they stand up to her, and it was one of the funniest ones to me, but it is also the one that cemented this pattern. Because remember, even after she sees Jinx as an adult, a capable and destructive force, her instinct is still protect her. Because Jinx has to be protected, she thinks, and no matter what, if anything happens to her, Vi the Protector, it's your fault. Until Jinx refuses to take Vi's shit and actually just straight up bitch slaps her. As angry as Vi is in that moment, y'all notice how she immediately changes the way that she responds to Jinx after that? That is the catalyst for Vi realizing that she does not have to just take care of Jinx. This God knows how many year weight on her chest doesn't have to weigh her down anymore. Jinx doesn't save Vi from herself by, dragging her out of the pit and taking her to Vander. Jinx saves Vi by just 5 fingers to the face.